whereas expectations can go wild. Okay,
right.
So this is the with commodities and things that are not part of that computation of the tips. So this is why we're worried. My statement is not that we're going to have hyperinflation. My statement is that monetary policy is something that's out of control. Okay, we don't know. We have absolutely, because it's very nonlinear. We have no idea how to do it. Okay, and those who are basing themselves on past history don't know anything about history, because we're in an environment that does not resemble the past at all. So what I'm saying is try to stay out of monetary policy to get out of this.
But isn't trying to predict human behavior the most difficult component in all of this? Even people who saw big problems coming, who saw some sort of a crash coming, could have been off by a factor of years on the timing on it, because you can't necessarily pin down.
I'm not predicting a crisis or something. I'm saying the system is fragile, okay, and something that's fragile is eventually going to break, and it's very unsound, okay. And even if you're off by a couple of years or 5 years or 10 years, all right, if I tell you this house is going to collapse, all right, whether it collapses a minute after, okay, my prediction or my statement, or it collapses 10 years later, it's still something.
Why is it not possible to have an orderly deleveraging of the economy? Why does it have to end in collapse?
The government doesn't want to do it. The government can very easily go to banks and start immediately having conversion of debt to equity. If you convert debt to equity, this is the only. To me, it's the only solution.
You've made this point before.
If you don't convert forcibly debt into equity, have banks call on house. People are getting hate mail from the banks every month. All right, you owe us 7,000 more everything. Instead of and the person getting that mail, of course, is going to have it's going to be frozen. If the banks went to pay a visit to a homeowner, all right, with a smile, and told him, listen, we're going to reduce your monthly payments to $1,000 from $7,000, but I'd like to own 70% of your house or 60% of your house, whatever you can settle. The person would start from scratch on a healthy basis. You don't want to wait for foreclosures, okay? That would be a process that would facilitate. You could generalize it. You could do it in every single economic activity that has a high amount of debt and convert it to equity. But they don't want to do it. They're afraid. They don't want to take it's like, it reminds me of someone falling from a bicycle. Okay, when someone falls from a bicycle, they're like shocked, and they don't want to be very aggressive. We need to be much more aggressive with what's going on.
We have turned debt into equity on banks, but you're talking about it on a much bigger scale. We have so much debt in the system. Okay, it's not, and turning banks into equity. When Citibank goes to the $1 share, of course, that became equity. All right, you want to do it in a more systematic, more aggressive way. And
what do we do with the U.S. debt? Do we sell the U.S. to China?
The U.S. government debt is not the major part. The U.S. government debt is about $10 trillion.
The housing market, compared to the housing market, how much is U.S.
No, I thought you meant government.
Government debt.
Government debt is about, so far, okay, government, you also mean state debt is a small part. It's like 20%, maybe 10 to between 10 and 30%, depending what you call debt. But we have also liabilities that are not part of government debt that we have to worry about.
Then let's talk about the liabilities that will eventually be debt. I mean, is this worse just with the problems in the housing industry, right? I mean, the system you're talking about is just the housing industry? If we could prevent all the foreclosures,
we have private equity, we have companies choking on debt, the debt is generalized here and in the Western world. Plus, you can't separate the U.S. from other countries in the same condition, like Ireland. We all depend on each other. It's a systematic process that needs to take place, converting debt into equity right away. That's the only solution. And if we take the devil by the horn, then we'll transit into a more stable environment in which you can forecast, make mistakes, and it will be harmless.
All right, Nassim, we want to thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks a lot.